Hello, and welcome to the Kosh podcast. I am your host, Timber Smith, and once again, I am super excited about this week's guest. This individual, we go back a little ways. I'm super proud of the success that they've had in their professional life after they have moved on from college. And I'm excited about the conversation that we're gonna have. So this week's guest is Tyra Eiland. How you doing, Tyra?
I have no complaints. All is well.
All is well. Okay, we'll take that. Well, that's better than having complaints.
Exactly. No one wants to hear that.
No one wants to hear people's problems.
Not really.
Not really. All right, you ready to jump into the Kosh?
Yes, I am. I'm excited.
All right. Can you please share a little something about yourself and what is your connection to the Kosh?
So me and the Kosh go way, way back. Well, it really does feel like way back 10 years ago. I started at the University of Wisconsin at Oshkosh, a little proud freshman. I got a job working with you. And what a time. When I think about it, like, wow, that feels like so long ago. But I started at the University of Oshkosh, or Wisconsin at Oshkosh. Stayed there for 3 years, really, really enjoyed my time there. I just had more opportunities in Milwaukee as far as the career path that I wanted to take and just being closer to family in Milwaukee and in Chicago. I was fortunate enough when the Wisconsin Herd came to town to come back as the sideline reporter for the team. And I did that from the start of the year until last year. So their first 3 seasons, which was really exciting. It was cool to see classmates that I hadn't seen in years. I saw some professors. So I really felt like I was back at home, which was nice. It's a hometown feel, which I always appreciated when I went to school there. So that's the connection I've always enjoyed being in Oshkosh. It's far enough away from Milwaukee, but close enough to come back. So, yeah.
Now, I want to talk about the Herd a little bit because, I'm not going to lie. I got some tickets. I'm a season ticket holder for the Herd. Love Herd games, right? Because I think it's like one of the best things you can kind of do in the Kosh, right? I mean, who has that? We in the feel of it, right?
Right.
I always called it has this feel of an adult high school basketball game.
That is accurate.
Right? Because you're going to see like a little bit of any and everybody when you go to the Herd game, right? And it's good when you see them. It's a good feeling. You're like, what's up? And you wave to them. And the size of the arena to me is perfect. Right? There's not a bad seat in that place.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very home feel, very intimate. And I mean, that last season was exciting. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, how exciting last season was. So, yeah, a little bittersweet with how the year ended due to COVID. But
I feel cheated because I was, I'm not going to lie. I was just paying for my playoff tickets, right? And I was like, the Herd finna win this championship, G-League championship. It was serious, and that just didn't work out that way.
It didn't, and I mean, I was looking forward to coming back. Literally, I had just put together a video package recapping the Herd season and how excited we were to head to the playoffs. And, it was growth from the first year. And we had hit our peak where we could, show who we are as an affiliate of the Milwaukee Bucks. And the last day, I remember it like it was yesterday. I really wanted to post the content. And we just missed the deadline because there were so many things happening that day. They told us to work from home on March 11th, and we never returned back to the office.
That's on some stuff, right?
Yeah.
That was
It was a game changer.
that's a huge game changer, and if I don't know, it just left me feeling some kind of way at the end of the day.
Yeah, they had to make some really hard decisions. I mean, the front office with both organizations, the Wisconsin Herd and Milwaukee Bucks, decisions that I know that weren't easy to make. So it kind of put them in a corner to have to make those.
Right.
And it was just unfortunate times, an unfortunate year after all that hard work that the players put in, the staff put in. So it was disappointing. It was very disappointing.
All right. And so, and I just want to throw in there, we don't edit when we do these shows because I want it to be as authentic as possible. And so in the background, I think we got somebody else who's a guest with you. Who's our co-guest?
This is little Ava. She's new to the world. She's 3 months old. She's my partner in crime right now. She's smiling as I'm looking at her.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, welcome, little Ava, to the Kosh. I think she might be our youngest guest.
And the funny part is, as you're saying welcome, she's like making giggly noises. This little girl, she's advanced.
Well, maybe she just knows how to conduct a great interview.
I'm sure she gets it from her mom.
She get it from her mama. All right, I'm liking that. All right, you ready to jump into the first segment?
Yes.
Okay, first segment is called "What in the World is Going On With," and that is where we start with the phrase "What in the world is going on with," and you finish it with something that's on your mind. So, Tyra, what's on your mind?
What the world is going on with face masks? So I just left a business. Now, I have no preference if people want to wear masks or don't, right? That's not the point of the conversation. When I go into an establishment and the owner says, hey, I want you to put on a face mask, or I don't care if you do, like, I'm going to respect either one. I go into this business, they say, hey, we want you to wear face masks. I pull my face mask out and put it on. But when the employees, oh, excuse me. Well, I guess that's what I get for talking smack, huh? Couldn't even finish it. Let me just take a good sip of water.
No problem.
All right. Well, I guess I was going too hard for that. But when the employees in the establishment don't have on a face mask or aren't wearing it properly, what are we really doing? I think there are so many things happening in the world right now. And a lot of us are just operating in procedures and status quo, like, let's get it together. So if you want me to wear my face mask, I'm all for it. But make sure your staff they're wearing it properly. Don't waste my time to make me go to the car to get another face mask. So That happened today, and I am just like, what are we doing? It's not mandated anymore. So if you don't want people to wear them, you don't have to. But what I see a lot of businesses do, and this isn't only about the face mask, about Black Lives Matter and all these social issues and social things happening right now, is businesses are doing what they feel like their customers want them to do versus what their mission stands on. And that's really interesting across the board. So just pick your poison and stand on it.
I like that. And you're right. I do think some businesses aren't being authentic.
Exactly.
In what they truly stand for. And let's not do what's just popular. Let's do what you believe in. But that also being said, I can understand it from a business aspect, and the point being that you got to meet your constituents where you're at. Your people, your customers, your consumers, they're your bread and butter. And if your missions don't align with maybe with the greater number of your constituents stand for, then maybe you need to rethink your mission.
Exactly. Or your demographics.
Yeah,
stay true to your roots. If you find there's a community with social media for everything. Find your community, find your niche, and stick to it. You're going to get loyal customers that way too. So no need to fake the funk.
That's true. Customers can see through that.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, my what in the world is going on with has to do with self checkouts. All right. You feel me on this? Look,
There are a lot of them.
wait, that's the problem. Wait, because here's my thing. Look, I am anti self checkout because it's like why am I saving you loot if it's included in the cost of the product or my experience as a consumer in your location, but then I gotta come, and when I go, I don't have nobody cashiering, so I'm forced to do a self checkout, right? Except for then they got the one wanderer over in the self checkout area, making everybody feel like, what you doing? Looking over your shoulder, trying to make sure you scanning everything. Last time I checked, I didn't get trained on the machines.
Exactly.
What am I self checking out for? When I am more than happy to get in line, be patient, wait, make sure that things are properly checked out so there's not any conflict, there's no misunderstandings. And if there is a misunderstanding, it is not upon me.
Exactly.
I do not want somebody chasing me out of the store saying, you did not scan this. No, let's not do this. Just give me some cashiers. Don't feel that I should be the one self-checking out. Let's make that happen.
That's factual. And the funny part is some stores have a self-checkout limit. And because they only have one cashier, everyone's still in self-checkout.
Now, and I mean, what is that? Self-checkout. So now that I haven't seen, so there's a self-checkout limit that you can only self-checkout so much yourself?
Yes, I was at the grocery store last weekend, and there was 20 items or less for self-checkout. And then there were 2 cashiers.
Why can't the 2 cashiers just work the cash register?
I have no idea. I have go with the flow at this point.
Look, I'm now. Look, I was forgiving during COVID, right? During the pandemic, I was a little forgiving because I would gone in a place or two, and I didn't go many. I can almost say I almost went in no stores, but I went into a couple. And the couple I went into, they would have no cashiers and they would self-checkout. Well, here's my thing. Now we at the place that, we're trying to get back to normalization, right?
Right.
And why can't we just get the cashiers back?
I think there are some stores that are actually struggling with hiring some too. I talked to a VP of an organization yesterday, and she was saying she has to get creative with hiring because so many people make more money on unemployment than actually going to an establishment.
Ooh, let's have that conversation real quick too. I'm not sure how, I keep hearing people say that, but I don't know how I feel about that when people actually say that, right? Because I'm not, there's 2 ways I feel about it. Like, should we be paying more so they can have a living wage? Or is that really what is happening? Because I'm not 100% sure that I think that's the easy answer, right? But I don't know if that's the answer. I'm not 100% convinced yet that the reason that there's a shortage of employees is because of this unemployment. I mean, I think there could be a shortage of employees because a lot of the employees who may have lost their jobs during the pandemic went and got better jobs. And now there's just not as many people out here willing to work for a lesser wage.
I could see that. I thought this was something more feasible when we were looking at essential workers last April, May, and June, around that time where we were just coming out of the real lockdown time frame.
Right.
Because you were getting, an extra $600 on unemployment. Now, I think it's the jobs that were already tough to fill, but they have a lot more customers coming in. So you look at drive-throughs at restaurants. Like, people are probably, that convenience is a little bit more convenient than going into the grocery store right now, especially during peak hours.
Right.
So I could see that. I think it's hit or miss depending on the actual job. I mean, because CNAs, I feel like that was always a hard place to fill.
Right.
So I think you look at the job and then you could say, well, that's been consistent for X amount of time, and this is probably a new issue over here.
Right. I would agree with that. And I think that's part of the thing. I mean, and I think in some of the cases, some people, change is hard, right? And so I believe there's some people who may have been sitting in a job that may not have been the best paying job, but they've had that job for a long time, right?
Right.
And so they were just there and never needed to go look elsewhere to find out there was better out there. And then this happened, and maybe the doors closed temporarily. They were laid off because, COVID, and then they went and found something better. Or they found out there was the opportunity to do better, and then they're like, well, I ain't going back to that.
I agree with that. Let's talk about that, because I'm in that boat. I'm in that boat where I enjoyed what I was doing post-COVID or pre-COVID. And then post-COVID, I'm looking at, okay, where was the balance? Where was the structure? There are a lot of other opportunities that fit my lifestyle more than what I was forcing my lifestyle to fit prior to COVID.
Yes. I think that's a whole nother conversation, which, let's be honest, like, people now have found out maybe I can work from home.
Exactly. Even though people for years have ran away from the idea in the concept of doing anything work related at home. Now it's, some people are not going back to the same structure.
Right. And so that might be another reason that maybe some businesses are having a tough time filling jobs, because people have found other opportunities where they don't have to go work in person in that retail setting, that food server setting, and have found ways to work from home and make that same money, if not better money.
Exactly. For big companies too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why, like I said earlier, I'm unsure about that conversation of people are quick to blame the unemployment. And I think it could just be a change in employment.
And what that looks like every day.
Right.
And for a different, yes, I agree with that. That's a good point.
All right. Okay, that was good. You ready for the next segment?
Yes.
Next segment is word association. So I'm going to say some words, and you just tell the Kosh listeners what's on your mind or what comes to mind. All right, first word, food.
I have a tricky relationship with food right now.
Uh-oh.
So I have to give myself so much grace. I am not used to this. So Ava is our third child.
Okay.
And you go 9 months to create a child right in the belly. And I ate all of these amazing foods. I cooked foods I had never cooked before. I have mastered lasagna. I mean, I was at home with my family and we enjoyed the time eating together. Those habits that I built in 9 months, I have struggled to shave off now that Ava is living her best life outside of my belly. And so the discipline that I am trying to get back to is a real thing. And I've never been in this space. So I'm usually heading back to work at this point, or I'm getting active in some capacity. And now that I have to be my own motivation, oh, this is different. So I have recently got a trainer and we are working out in the gym because I just can't say no to, chocolate chip cookies right now. And I've never had that problem post-pregnancy. So yeah, food is too good right now. And I have developed some really cool dishes that I cannot say no to cooking.
Mm. I'm feeling that. How's the wait? So I want to know: is this trainer thing is it working? Is it a thing?
It is a thing. So Yoshi, she's amazing. She matches my energy too, so we can laugh and have a good time and get an amazing workout. I have struggled to find women who can keep me going through a workout, and Yoshi has hit it right on the nail. So she knows what she's doing, number one, and she brings energy and her full joy every time I come to her gym. So I'm really excited to keep working with her. I'm going into my second month with her. And, she is very graceful in correction. She tells me stories versus just saying, Tyra, you should have. So that makes things a little bit easier. She's like, you need to do some self-care. So put yourself on the calendar. Stop missing our sessions. And she got me in check. And I appreciate that. So we're doing good.
That. She calls it self-care.
Yes. I mean, it is. It's a choice. We have a choice as women post-pregnancy if we want to go to the gym or if we want to sit here and try to be in control of our household.
All right. Hey, shout out to Yoshi. Okay. Cocktail or beer?
Neither. I used to be into wine, and I'll still have a glass of wine, but my brother and sister got married, a brother-in-law married my now sister in 2017. And that was the last time I had any hard beverage / beer or anything like outside of wine.
Bruh. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
We had a good time. It was a great time off of those little bottles, those shot bottles that you can get in the gas station.
Yes.
I promise I had 2 of those and I felt like I had 6. Went to Potawatomi, had a good time with the family and my husband. We actually still have video of me hitting the Quan in the food court. And that was all she wrote. I was done after that. I went to church the next day and the pastor asked me to open up with prayer. And the conviction, just the sweat of the liquor was still on me. And I was like, I think I'm done. I don't think I had any self-control last night. And now I'm supposed to pray for souls. That's not going to work.
Oh, yep. I'm going to have to say, okay, good call. That's all I got. Can't really argue with any of that right there. All right. Netflix.
Me and Netflix have a tricky relationship right now. I am watching shows that are throwbacks that I would come home from middle school and watch, and the joy that I'm getting from it. Sister, One-on-One. I haven't started Half and Half. Moesha, all these throwback shows, they're taking me back to my youth, which is keeping me young because I'm hitting 30, so I need to feel those younger years. So we got a hate-love relationship right now, but it's all good.
I like that. Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. Amazon can cause a divorce in a household. Did you know that?
Yes. Yes, I do. And I'm going to tell you particularly because my spouse loads trucks for UPS. And she is always mad at the volume of Amazon orders. She's like, if y'all would just quit ordering all this stuff, life could be normal. But and it's worse because she can see all the things I'm ordering.
Oh yes, and the convenience of it. I mean, Ava was born. I was back at the house 2 days later. I have 5 boxes here, and there are some things that I still have not used. It was just the excitement of this is coming in 2 days, and this is cute. Do I need it? Probably not. So self-discipline is a real thing with Amazon. I have a love-hate relationship, but I'm grateful for it because last minute birthday gifts, Father's Day is coming up. I'm sure it'll be a week before and I'll be like, well, I should have got this too. And I'll go on Amazon. Never fails.
I'm not gonna lie. I am making a more conscious effort now to try and do some shopping local. That is
Ooh,
that is the thing, because we got to support these small businesses out here. We need them.
that's huge. That's huge.
Yep. Um, Parenting.
Well, that's my life. Um,
Bruh.
I will say COVID has humbled me in another way, as far as being a mother and what that really means. Like, I had this um, Showtime, HBO lifestyle of motherhood, and then reality hit with COVID. Working for an NBA team had me busy. In a way where I was making progress and I was achieving these goals, but I was missing out on the most important thing, and that is family. I just married my husband before I went full time, and we had just had our first child. So to come sit in the house with him and to be a parent, to be a wife, reality set in that maybe we haven't done this as much as we should. Maybe we haven't utilized our dining room table. So parenting has been very humbling, but it has brought me the most joy. Been hard. It's the hardest job, but it's brought me the most joy because I see the impact of what it means to be a mother now. At first, I saw it in my head and in these quotes and in TV movies, but I really felt the impact of me coming home and just being here for a second and how fast my toddler was potty trained. Or me coming home and being here for a moment and how quickly my second daughter picked up on words that she probably knew but just wasn't saying, because mothers talk to their children different from fathers. Not to take away from them, but it's just a different bond. I mean, we were rocking for 9 months before the world ever seen them, right?
Right.
So parenting brings me much joy, real joy now. I think it's authentic and it's real. And before it was like, yeah, I have some kids and I'm a mom. I'm a fine mama too. But now it's like, it's real. It's real joy. It's real love. It's real peace from within being a mom.
That's powerful. Okay. Last word. Sports.
Okay, this is a tough one. Not because the answer is tough, but because I I hope that the Milwaukee Bucks can really pull something off this postseason. I see a solid team on the court with the Milwaukee Bucks. My hesitation is the West Coast. Even in the teams that don't make the playoffs, they are always deep. They have talent across the board. We have struggled to make it every year that I've worked with the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's a mental mentality. This physicality, you can fight through that, the physical part. But if you don't have the mental capacity to do it, there's a breakdown. And there has to be real chemistry. There has to be a real hunger across the board. And not to say that certain players on the team, we've seen Chris come in the clutch and knock down these shots. We've seen Giannis put in work year in and year out, off season, preseason, everything. He's doing what he's supposed to do as the face. But is he enough?
Right. I agree with that.
And what I struggle with is a harsh reality living in the cheese state of Wisconsin. We are not the Packers. We are not football. It's the NBA. And do players who have the talent and the mentality and the experience want to come to Milwaukee and bring a championship here?
Yeah. I always think that, like, I really thought, which I think this last go round of recruiting that they did and the free agency, and they brought in the players that they brought in, they did an excellent job of building something around Giannis. But you're right. It takes something to draw that extra big name, right?
Right.
And I don't know if our market fosters that.
Exactly. And they foster more of the veterans. Like, we've gotten so many amazing veterans that have come through our city, but they didn't stay long, and their support wasn't enough because they're supporting on the mental side. So then you lose the talent that you need on the court. Like, when was the last time we seen someone? I mean, Ray Allen is in his own boat, right?
Right.
But a player that could shoot consistently from the 3-point arc.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that the game has changed, so I mean that's the expectation now, right? Like, you got people out there who that's what they do. And they ain't even playing no inside game. It's an all outside the arc game.
Exactly. And to put that pressure on Giannis to say, hey, you need to just develop your 3-point game that's not ideal. That's not realistic.
And it's not who he is to me. It's not his It's not his strength. It's not his strong suit.
Exactly. So I want them to go far. But this round with the Nets, with the team that they have built overnight, after taking a year, it's going to show us where the Milwaukee Bucks are and what they're really capable of.
Okay. I just want to take a moment and ask the question. So you mentioned that you worked for the Bucks. What did you do for the Bucks?
So I worked in a few different departments throughout my 8 years being with them. I started as an intern in group sales. Only game nights, I would come and escort groups to their experience, whether it was the tunnel or to be courtside sitting in a player's seats. And then I went to community relations and worked in there for majority of my years with the organization. And I really enjoyed that. Getting to know the community, getting to know the people and another level, and being a resource, right? So the Milwaukee Bucks, they're the biggest speakerphone we're going to find in the city, and to address social issues, to create events that brought joy. I mean, we got to do so many different things. It wasn't just working with a nonprofit. It was working with Northwestern Mutual, with BMO Harris Bank, with local organizations, grassroots. So we got to touch some of everyone. So I really enjoyed that. And then my last few years, I transitioned into broadcast full time. So that's when I was able to be the Wisconsin Herd sideline reporter. And then I did digital content for Bucks Gaming and odd end jobs for the Milwaukee Bucks. So there were times where I was interviewing the GM of the Milwaukee Bucks pregame for an event. So I was able to touch a lot of different things, which I'm super grateful for. I don't know why the organization was so willing, but I am grateful for it because I have a ton of experience in a variety of buckets that have allowed me to make my own path for whatever I do next.
Okay. Let's move to the next segment. The next segment is called "What Does the Kosh Need?" and that is where we ask our guest, what do we need for this community?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think number one and most importantly is diversity. There are students who come to Oshkosh just to experience the university and then end up leaving, as I did. But I wish a few more would stay and just experience some of the goodness there. We talk about racism. It's like such, it's the platform right now. It's what everyone's focused on. And I truly believe that it's about having conversations and living amongst people who are different. So the more we diversify ourselves, the more we can learn about another and understand their experience and create a level of empathy. And I believe that's on both sides. So I wish it was more of that. Even when I was coming back for the Wisconsin Herd, that was always a desire. But I also hope that they continue to bring more sports, minor league teams to the state and picking Oshkosh. I voted Oshkosh at the very beginning to be a location for the Wisconsin herd. My vote did not count, but in my mind it did. Because there's so much joy there. There's so much support there from the community, and that's important for any organization.
I'm not going to lie. I watched some of the other D-League games, while watching the herd. And, the way the fans that showed up to our game, we used to have a lot of fans compared to a lot of the other teams.
Yes, the loudest crowd. I was able to travel with the team a few times. No one was beating our crowd and our support. I mean, not at all.
Yeah, I gotta give it up to the Kosh. Y'all definitely, I can't wait for these games to start back up. I'm excited. All right, the next segment is called the Naughty/Heroes Corner, and this is an opportunity for you to nominate someone, something, an organization, whoever, to the Naughty or the Heroes Corner. So, what do you got?
The heroes are all of the parents across not only the Oshkosh area, but the state of Wisconsin, across the country, because they were parenting during COVID, and they were being a teacher during COVID. And those two roles together, that was a challenge in patience and how gentle you can be with your child. So they are the heroes across the board. I know we talk about those who were the nurses and the essential workers, credit and support to them as well. But parents, you hung in there in an unbelievable way. You still were the provider, and you were the teacher, and you were doing all of this in one space. So I think kudos to all parents who really survived the pandemic.
I'm with you on that one. The way I feel about that whole situation is I hope I give great kudos to the parents, but what I really hope comes from that is a greater appreciation for our educators.
Exactly.
Because the parents who had to become the educators, I am truly like, it didn't feel that it didn't seem that hard until you have to do it. But I mean that's anything, right? It's never real until it's real.
Exactly. The grass ain't always greener.
Right, because you hear people talking about, well, teachers get summers off, and them 9 months is real.
Exactly. My daughter showed me that when she went back to school, her teacher called every day about her screaming in the classroom. And I was like, she's not used to being outside the house. Let's work on it. So.
Oh, I like that. All right. Now it's time for our topic of the week, and our topic is invisible beauty. What does that mean?
Oh, that means a lot. To be honest, when I started this organization, when this concept was birthed, it was during my time of competing for Miss America, which Oshkosh is the home of the Miss America organization for the state of Wisconsin. So hoot hoot to Oshkosh. They support the state pageant every year and host it there at one of their local schools. And so I was competing for that title, and I came up with a program to support young women who potentially may go into pageantry, just to encourage them and empower them to believe in themselves. And I let that platform go after I retired, quote unquote. I was actually kicked out because I was too old. They don't really kick you out, but you do age out of the program. And so I laid down that platform, and I ended up picking it back up a few years later in 2016 because I felt the need of women to find their voice. And everything that I have poured into Invisible Beauty in terms of women finding their voice is something that I've experienced And I did not know that's what I was picking up. Had I known, I don't know if I would have picked it up, because there's a lot of growth that comes through it. But Invisible Beauty, the goal is about wearing confidence from the inside and not outside. So we can be beautiful, for the first 30, 40 years of our life, and then the wrinkles set in, and then the weight is harder to lose. So how do we find the inner beauty internally through our life that we live, through what we say to ourselves, through our beliefs? That's the core focus. And since 2016, I've gone through that process myself. Reason why I said, COVID was such a profound moment for me, because I had to live out the things that I was teaching women to live out in a very direct way. Far as being present in the household, putting yourself first, managing healthy relationships and what that means, and finding your identity. Because for so long, my identity was my career. If I was successful, if I had met my goals, my identity was checkmate. It was solid. But when my identity was stripped from me, my job or my status, I had to show up as Tyra, and I didn't know what that looked like, because it had changed from the last time I evaluated myself. I was now married. I now have kids. I have, work experience. My life looked different. So with Invisible Beauty, it's really about finding the person within and being okay with her and loving on her and cherishing her, because she goes nowhere. All the external things, they can be taken, they can be gone. We see people who go through these freak accidents and they lose a limb or lose their eyesight, and it's hard to bounce back from that. But if you are stable in your foundation of who you are, it gives you a little bit more hope to press on, a little bit more hope to, go through these trials and tribulations with confidence and with a little mustard seed of faith that things will be better, and there's more to you than what meets the eye.
So, at this time, is Invisible Beauty, is there anything that the organization is currently doing? Do you do presentations? What is it? What has it become? What does it look like right now? Because I'm sure that during COVID, you can't do all the things that you might have been doing prior. So at this point, what is it coming out of the pandemic looking like, and what's it going to be doing? What's in its future?
Yeah, so I stopped all workshops during the pandemic. So I'll go back to those in the fall. Right now I'm publishing and printing a journal. And then we are launching a clothing line in the fall. So we're doing the confidence, the package, right? So the journal that's given away at the workshops is officially being published. And then the clothing that we will wear with confidence, despite what confidence may look like on social media, because a lot of young girls feel like that is taking off half your clothes and seeing how many likes you can get. So we're building the cool stuff around the workshops to be able to add to that for the fall. So the fall is when all of this will be launched, and then we'll go back into scheduling conferences as a speaker and to do workshops and retreats. So I try to do my retreats in a very intimate way. So I host them a lot in the summer. So I'll host one this summer, but it won't be open to the public.
Okay. And if people want to learn more about Invisible Beauty or to contact you to maybe book or anything like that, how did they reach out to you? How did they contact you?
So all of my information is on IamInvisibleBeauty.com. All of our social media handles is I Am Invisible Beauty on Instagram and Facebook. We have not transitioned to Twitter, and Twitter is a dangerous space. There are some some social pages that just kind of go against the whole mission. So we try to stick to Facebook and Instagram. But those are the 3 locations that I can be reached, and you can learn more about what we do. The pillars are positive identity, positive relationships, and self-care. And the goal is to empower women to walk in their authentic self and trust the words that follow I am every day, whether it's I am a teacher, I am a mother, I am a care provider, I am a wife. Whatever words follow with confidence by knowing who you are from within.
All right. At this time, we're going to start wrapping it all up. All right. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, it ain't over. It
Good
ain't over.
stuff. Good stuff.
What I would like to say is to all the Kosh listeners, once again, we are a work in progress. You know, I appreciate you all. I appreciate every email and different messages. I'm actually getting messages through different platforms at this time. If you are interested in being a guest, do not hesitate to reach out to me. Once again, it is askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, askthekosh@gmail.com. You can email me. You can find me on LinkedIn, which I've gotten a couple of messages through LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me on Facebook. So far, what I have learned is that there is not a lot of other timber smiths out there in the world. So I am not a hard man to find. Please feel free to reach out. I love hearing from you, and we take it seriously. If you've written me, you know I answer everything personally, and we do make changes to the show accordingly from ideas that are great. All right. So you know what time it is? It is shout out time, my favorite time of the show. All right, so Tyra, this is your opportunity to shout out anybody who you want to shout out. Shout out everybody. There is no limit to the shout outs. We love a good shout out, so shout out.
So shout out first and foremost to Timber, because you have played a huge role in the woman that I've become. I mean, you were coaching me through some of the most difficult years of my life. Shout out to my family who have stuck by me and supported me through all these years. It takes a village to do anything, to accomplish any dream. There has to be a support system for the hard days, for the babysitters, for the broke days. So all of my Eilands, all of my McFarlands, all of my Lawsons, they have all supported me in some way, shape, or form and allowed me to grind in the way that I needed to. And just shout out to God. I mean, he gave us breath this morning, movement in our limbs, and he has given me opportunities to really change the life for my family, change my life for my family. And so I'm forever grateful for that.
I love that. I love that. All right. I really, I got a couple of shout outs, and I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to give one huge shout out to somebody that you wouldn't expect necessarily, but it's a shout out to my daughter's boyfriend. Right? Yes. I'm giving, his name is Sam. I'm going to give Sam a shout out. You know why I'm going to give my man Sam a shout out?
Why?
Because my daughter moved out of her college house this weekend, and he showed up and he came and he helped move, and he didn't move the little stuff. He moved the heavy stuff. Let me tell you something.
Out.
He showed up, and I appreciate that. You know what that is? That's a good dude. And I'll be the first one, even as a protective father, I will be the first one to acknowledge that. Sam, you're a good dude. I appreciate you, man.
That is a good dude.
Yep. That was good stuff. Special shout out to my wife as always, because you know what? Since the daughter has taken over her room again and I have lost my podcast studio, I have moved the podcast studio into the living room temporarily, and she has not decided to chase me out of the house for it yet. But we'll be okay. It's only a temporary thing. All right.
Exactly.
So those are my shout outs at the moment. All right. And the very last thing in this episode of The Kosh are the parting words of wisdom. Tyra, what you got for us?
I just want to encourage everyone. This is so big for me. This was something that I had to take a journey on, and to sit in a house for a year and to watch the world can make people feel like they don't have enough or they're not where they're supposed to be. I just encourage every listener to live in your authentic truth and stand in that and be okay in that, because the truth is there are so many voices and people on social media who are putting up a facade to be in the space that they want to be in versus where they really are. And we fall into depressions. We create anxiety. We are falling into these spaces of a lot of mental health issues by not being honest and authentic with ourselves. So I just encourage everyone, just walking your truth. Wherever you stand, you were meant to be there. You had to work to get there. You will work to continue to grow, and that is all okay. We all have a journey. We were not created perfect. We're on the journey to be made perfect, and to live in that truth day in and day out.
All right. That was powerful. How'd you like this?
I did. I loved it. I want to know what you thought.
We'll talk about it offline. The Kosh.